What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Moon back with another video. So right now, this is how we did last week on our picks. Some controversial ones, some upsets that should have happened, but nonetheless, it was an 8-8. It only says 7-8 because we didn't pick on the Broncos one. But you already saw my video, so you know I already picked the Broncos over the Panthers, obviously. But now, since I didn't do the Jets and Bills prediction on Twitter or anywhere, I'll take my L. So I'm already 0-1 to start the week. So right now we're gonna get started. Saints and Giants. Drew Brees and that defense against Eli Manning and Odell Beckham and Victor Cruz and you name it. And it's in New York. I don't think Drew Brees has a chance. His defense gave up 35 to the Raiders, and Eli has a lot better offensive attack than the Raiders. It's just gonna be a blowout city. Cowboys and Redskins. The Redskins played horrendous against the Steelers, lost 38-16. Antonio Brown just went off. He was twerking his way to a new Madden card versus Dallas Cowboys and Dak P and Ezekiel Elliott, who just took a hard loss because their receiver just couldn't get out of bounds. So I think they run up the score. They're gonna run it up, and I think they're gonna blow them out because the Redskins can't stop the run at all. I think Ezekiel Elliott might go for 200 if he wants to, and I'm expecting him to. Washington or not, this is Dallas's game to lose to get to a 1-1 start. Miami at New England. So Jimmy G against the Dolphins, and the Dolphins they always playing hard against Miami. So could this be that little upset alert? I think we're gonna have our first upset of alert of the day, and I think the Miami Dolphins are going to get this win. Only 11 people of 100 would give them this chance, but I think the Dolphins gonna win this game. So now we got the Bengals versus the Steelers, a rivalry game in the making. So we already know they both 1-0. The Bengals got knocked out of the playoffs by the Steelers on a play that went for 30 yards, even though no one gained a play. But as the Bengals always finding a way to lose that playoff game, I think it's in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh got the edge. The Bengals gonna be mad and they're gonna be hot, but I think the Steelers and Antonio Brown is gonna carve up that Bengals defense. They're gonna probably try to take him out the game, but that's not gonna matter. So I'm picking the Steelers to win this game. The 49ers at the Panthers. The Panthers took a hard loss to the Broncos last week off a missed field goal, starting the whole Gano 1.0 thing against the 49ers, who just flat out dominated the Rams and Case Keenum. So I think the Panthers come out this next week. They get a win. Unless the 49ers can put that much pressure on Cam Newton, I don't see it. They're going to win this game. The Ravens had a good outing against the Buffalo Bills, even though they didn't really have an offense. At that point, their defense had stepped up to keep Tyrod Taylor down the whole game, despite all the mistakes the Ravens offense had made. But then the Browns losing RG3 for the year, who really wasn't going to be that effective, and it's the Browns. And since it's in Cleveland, and the Ravens have already beaten them every other way possible, I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens. They're going to get off to a 2-0 start. The Titans and the Lions. The Titans, they dropped the ball on the Vikings game. That was an easy win for them. It was Sean Hill. It was an easy win. They had the better team from top to bottom. And then Marcus Mariota, he just threw a pick. They had too many turnovers. They could have won that game easy. The Lions put up a good show against the Colts. Colts stormed right back. But then the Lions came back with Matt Prater and kicked a game-winning field goal. So, and it's in Detroit, and I think the Titans are gonna go in there and get a win. That's my second upset alert. The Titans gonna go into Detroit and get that win. Call me crazy, but it's gonna happen. The Chiefs and the Texans. The Chiefs storming back from a fourth quarter deficit to beat the Chargers versus the Texans, who really didn't have that much trouble against Jay Cutler in the second half. But seeing what Kansas City's done already, I'm gonna go with Kansas City. This game is gonna be a pretty even game. But I think Kansas City has the better team. I think they're going to put a lot more pressure on the 6'7" Brock Osweiler. The Seahawks and the Rams. So this is in LA, the Rams home opener. But after seeing what the 49ers did to them, I could only imagine what the Seahawks would do to them because the Seahawks have a better secondary, a better defense, and a better offense compared to the 49ers. So Seattle going to go right in there and easily get that win. So now we got the Buccaneers against the Cardinals. The Buccaneers coming out with a surprising win, in my opinion, to the Falcons. I know it was a rivalry game. You always play your rivals tough, but I think that the Falcons really should have had won that game against the Cardinals, who really just needed a good long snapper. And that's what happens when you try to save money. Sometimes it's going to show. So they try to save money with the long snapper. It caught them in the ass. And so, with that being said, it's in Arizona. I think Arizona gets one back to get back on track to start their season. I think they win this game pretty easily against Jameis Winston and that Buccaneers attack. No doubt they got Mike Evans and Benson Jackson and Chris Sims the third, but I think their defense of the Cardinals will be able to cover them so easy. So I'm giving the Cardinals the edge in this game. We got the Jags and the Chargers. The Jags, who fought very well against Green Bay. It was a 4th and 1. They ran a screen. Made no sense at all to run a screen in that situation. I thought maybe you do like a fullback dive, maybe a quarterback sneak, or a pitch to the left. No, you did a screen. So that's kind of the reason why the Jags keep losing games. But with that being said, I think the Jags can hang with some teams. They're not there yet. It was only one game, but I think they'll be able to go into San Diego and get that win because San Diego's proven that they can't keep a lead to save their life. Even up 24-3, Kansas City stormed back easy, took them to overtime, won the game. Jacksonville going to be able to go in there, keep a lead all the way for the whole 60 minutes and win that game. So now we got the Falcons and the Raiders. The Falcons dropping the ball against James Crablegs Winston in the Buccaneers last week against the Raiders, who went into a shootout in New Orleans and was able to come away with that victory. So I think that the Raiders are gonna maybe go 2-0, and that's hard to say coming from a Broncos fan. I never thought I'd have to say that, but I have to go with it. Matty Ice and Julio Jones. I don't think there'll be enough for the Raiders. I don't think they have enough talent to keep up with that with the points, and it's in Oakland. So I think the Raiders are gonna come away with that victory. So now the Colts and the Broncos. Andrew Luck 3-1 against the Denver Broncos. But with that defense and the way that Trevor Siemian played and CJ Anderson becoming the stud running back that he is, very underrated. Emmanuel Sanders, another underrated receiver. And whether Demaryius Thomas plays or not will not matter because I think even if Demaryius Thomas does not play, the Broncos are going to be able to win this game based on their defense and some offensive points. Because if the Broncos can put up at least 24, 31, and not just saying because the defense of the Colts is bad, it's just if they can get to 24, 31, they'll be able to win this game because the Colts are going to try to run the football with Frank Gore. So what you do is you put 7 in the box, 7, 8 in the box, like how they did Todd Gurley last week, and then you force Andrew Luck to come from behind and throw the football, which he can, but with that pressure and you keep hitting him, because remember, the Broncos is the team that knocked Andrew Luck out of the season. So, with that being said, if Andrew Luck has to keep taking them hits to get coming back from behind, they ain't going to be able to win this game. So, now we're moving into the Sunday night game. Packers versus Vikings. Vikings, no Teddy V, but they have AP in their defense with Everson Griffin, Captain Munnerlyn. I like their team with Trey Waynes as well. I really like the Vikings. They're at home against the Packers. Even though the Packers, they had to come out of a clutch game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Packers with the easiest schedule of all 32 teams in the year. But it looks like the Packers are the favorites to win this game. We're going to go with our third upset. We're going to pick the Vikings to win this game by a score of at least 31-24. I think the Vikings will be able to put up that points. AP will have to have a big game, and I think their defense is going to have to come up clutch in the final minutes to win this game. The Eagles at the Bears. The Bears had played the Texans super well until the second half had come because the Bears and Alshon Jeffrey, the fantasy monster himself, he was putting up them yards. They were getting points on the board. They were looking like the old Bears. But then the second half came along and they forgot they had to play 2 halves and they lost the game to the Texans. The Eagles flat out just dominated the Browns by a score of 29-10. I think the Eagles easily come out with this win. They're already 2-0 to start their season with their new rookie quarterback Carson Wentz looking pretty nice so far, but it's only been one game. But these are my predictions. Hopefully we do a lot better than 8-8 this week. as I already started off 0-1 because I didn't pick a game this week. But what a game it was between the Jets and the Bills. Bills almost make it a comeback, but Ryan Fitzpatrick and Brandon Marshall and that Anunwa, how about him? He is a special card to have on that team. The Jets look like they're going somewhere this year. As for the Bills, they're going 2 steps in the wrong direction, and they might keep going back down because I don't see why he picked Rob Ryan. I know it's family, but you should never hire family when it comes to business because it's always that awkward because now they're going to leave together when the Bills fire them both. But with that being said, that's how it goes in the NFL. Week 2 predictions. Hopefully you guys like them. Hopefully there's some little bit of controversial ones. But anything can happen on any given Sunday. So it's your boy Moon signing out. Peace.